let's take a look at our top selections for the... Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. It's opening Friday at Keeneland, and race number 8 is the Grade 2 Stahl Keenan Ogden Phoenix Stakes. $200,000 is the purse. Let's throw up the field. We're going 3/4 of a mile, and this race might have some bearing on the Breeders' Cup Sprint this year. You see the old war horse, the number 3 Whitmore, 7-2 on the morning line. The 4 Diamond Oops coming off of a turf sprint win. He's so versatile. He's 3-1, and Lexatonian always has a puncher's chance, 4-1 as well. Really wide open race, lots of speed, interesting group.
Yeah, it is an interesting race and a lot of different ways to go. And you're right. I mean, any race that they run from here until the beginning of November, Dan, going 6 or 7 furlongs is going to have a bearing on the Breeders' Cup Sprint because it's a totally depleted division. So a lot of different horses have their chances to make their mark in that race.
I agree with Timeform US's pace projector. They have it a red bar situation. They believe it's a fast pace. And when you have a horse like the 5 No Parole, you know No Parole is going. The question is the 2 absolutely Aidan, who's been pretty fast against weaker company? Can he go with that horse? Coppertown, pretty fast against weaker company. Can he go with that horse? I have a feeling if Echo Town really wants it, Mike, he can get it, but at what cost?
I mean, he's a fast horse, but you're right. The horse down up towards the inside, absolutely. Aidan is a speed horse, and it feels like he's a one-way speed. I do not see why Chris Landeros would not be sending that horse from his inside draw. And there's a couple other horses towards the outside with speed. So yeah, I expect this to be a pretty fast pace.
The horse at the back of the pack, the number 1 Chicklet, is the one. Sha Sha Shake Me Up. And what's wrong with Sha Sha Shake Me Up? I think he's been going too long his last 2 races. They ran him in the Iowa Derby. That race just didn't really have a ton of pace, I don't think. He didn't really fire. And last time out in the Pat Day Mile, maybe not the greatest trip against a decent field of 3-year-olds, but I just think he doesn't want to go a step past 7. His sprints are good.
Yeah, his sprints are good. I like this horse coming back. He didn't run great in the Pat Day Mile last time. He wound up getting 3rd, but it was just a race that was sort of falling apart at the end. He never really made an impact there, but I just like him sprinting. I'll tell you something, Dan. This is a race where I don't like the 3-year-olds really at all, but I do like this 3. I'll use this 3-year-old at a big price in here because I think he wants to sprint. And not only does he want to sprint, I think he wants to sit back and make one run sprinting, and there's a lot of pace in this race.
Trainer Wes Hawley's really underrated. He claims some horses and he moves them up, and he took absolutely Aidan from Steve Asmussen for $40,000 last year. And this horse has now won 3 of his last 4, including this effort in the Good Lord Stakes at Ellis Park back in July. And absolutely Aidan's game, as Mike mentioned, is speed. He's down towards the inside. I don't think this is the strongest field in the world, but you can't fault absolutely Aidan. He did what he had to do.
Agreed. I mean, it wasn't that strong a field, but they just put him on the front. He never really gave this field a chance. You can see there down to deep stretch. They're never catching him. And he's just sort of ridden out towards the end there. I thought he ran well there, and he just came into that race on a really good run, Dan. I mean, he's in very good form right now, and he's going to show speed from the inside.
In some ways, Whitmore is the horse to beat. He won this in 2017. He just missed in 2018 and 2019. He's a horse where if you give him pace, he is going to run. He has the excuse in the Vanderbilt 2 starts back being held up behind a slow pace, and he couldn't sprint home with the top sprinter Volatile. And last time out, I guess he had the excuse of the wet track. I mean, that 4-go was running a torrential downpour. Something to consider. This horse has been wearing aluminum pads in his last 2 races. Keep an eye on the old shoe board.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the aluminum pads are up. I don't know if that means anything or not. Although I suppose wearing aluminum pads and then catching a really wet track like he did last time is probably not ideal. Listen, you're right. He's the horse to beat in this race. There's speed in front of him. He does not need the lead to be effective. As far as I can tell, he's come back every bit as good as he ever was as a 7-year-old this year. He just fits really well in this race. He's the horse to beat.
Diamond Oops, the 4, is a multiple graded stakes winner on dirt. His most recent start, you liked him in the turf sprint at Churchill Downs. He's now a graded stakes winner on turf. I thought he ran a fine race, went 4th in the Pegasus World Cup at a distance that's probably a little long for him. And after that race, he went to the sidelines for about 6 months. He came back in this race, a pretty salty handicap at Gulfstream. And in watching the replay time and time again, I just thought, this is just a prep. I didn't really think Luca Panici really got into him too much. He was up close to the pace. The winner is a nice horse, Eye of a Jedi, who came back to win. Math Wizard was 5th in here. He came back to run 2nd in the Grade 3 Monmouth Cup with a 100 Buyers speed figure. This race, in hindsight, Mike, set him up perfectly for that turf effort.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And he just didn't look sharp. He didn't run poorly in that race. I thought he just wasn't sharp in that race. So I agree with you. They were probably using it as a prep. And it works, I guess, to perfection because he got a great trip and ride when they cut him back to 5.5 on the turf last time and he got it done. But you know what? That's just the story of Diamond Dukes' life, Dan. You can do whatever you want with this horse. Long on dirt, short on dirt, long on turf, short on turf. It doesn't matter. You can put him up close. You can take him back and make one run. He just shows up and runs every single time. So it really doesn't matter what happens as far as the pace is concerned in this race because he will adapt to it, and he's a good horse.
It was a tale of two pace scenarios in No Parole, the number 5's last two races. 2 starts back in the Woody Stevens, he was just able to get to an uncontested, easy lead, and he sprinted on home with a 100 Beyer speed figure. In the 8 Challenge Jerkins, the pace was a heck of a lot faster, and No Parole paid the price. This Louisiana bred is extremely fast. He's run some big sprints. I don't like that he doesn't change leads in the stretch, and I am concerned as he faces older horses for the first time he's going to face some speed challenges as well.
That was my concern, too. He does have some talent. He's a very fast horse. I also think cutting back to 6 probably helps him as well. Then I'm not sure, even though he won that grade 1-2 back, getting loose on the lead, 7 furlongs might actually push this horse a little bit. 6 furlongs is good. He's fast. He'll come out of there running. Again, I don't really want the 3-year-olds in this race or the 3-year-olds we're going to get to from here on out. I don't really want them. But this horse, he has good speed and he's talented.
Now, the 6 Echo Town finished behind No Parole in the Woody Stevens. I didn't think he got out of the gate great that day, and he wasn't able to establish early position. I thought he ran on okay after that race. The Jerkins set up very, very well for him. He was able to grind that field down. I just couldn't really find the excuses in the Pat Day Mile. He just kind of ran his race. He wasn't good enough.
Yeah, maybe he did. We've already made the excuse that the horse down on the rail may not have wanted the mile. This horse might not have wanted the mile last time, Dan. He didn't run great in there. His Woody Stevens, you're right. He was good in that race. He got bumped very hard at the start of that race, and he was out of position, but he actually ran really well to be second. And, listen, he won the Jerkins. I personally just wasn't blown away by the Jerkins. I didn't think it was that good a race. I don't want to take anything away from this horse for winning it, but it didn't make me want to bet him going forward against some tougher horses, and I think this is tougher.
50-1 on our next entrant, the 7 Empire of Gold. Let's watch Empire of Gold's last race at Remington Park. This is a 6.5 furlong event. He's on the lead right now. He goes on to win with an 88 Beyer speed figure. This horse has won his last 4 dirt sprints, although certainly not anywhere close to the quality of competition he's going to be facing on Friday.
Yeah, it's just a big step up in class. For a horse, too, who likes to be forward in his races, so a fast pace isn't going to help him either. He did run a 95 Beyer 3 starts back when he won that Lone Star, but that was going 5.5. I don't know, Dan. I just felt like this was going to be too tough for this horse.
Let's watch Coppertown's most recent race at Belterra Park. It's a non-winners of 4 life allowance. It's a short field. Coppertown gets to the lead. He goes pretty fast. He's just too much for these horses. This is not a strong field he beat, but once upon a dream, Mike, Coppertown was a horse that had a lot of potential, including a big triple-digit Beyer score over this Keeneland track.
I mean, he was cut out to be a really nice horse for Pletcher early on. Unfortunately for him, he's endured 2 really long layoffs in his career. So it just feels like things didn't go right for him, and maybe he'll never, reach that potential that it looked like he once had. He did not run that poorly 2 starts back, Dan, here at Keeneland when he just couldn't stave off CZ Rocket, who just keeps on winning races at this point. So, he ran pretty well in that race 2 back. The problem, I guess, for Coppertown is he's a speed, and there are 2 quality speeds to his inside.
Lexatonian, the 9, won this race last year, and I think he's got some good form coming in for Jack Sisterson. He's a dangerous contender. He ran in the Bing Crosby off the layoff. He got a very big pace. He came wide. The winner shot up the rail. Maybe if you switch trips, you switch results. And again, in the 4-go last time out, he was relatively close to that fast pace. Win, came from 100 out of it to win. And of course, it was run over that downpour, sloppy track. Firenze Fire, who didn't fire that day, came back to win the Vosburg with a 101. This horse fits, obviously.
Yeah, he does. He ran well last time, considering he was close to a fast pace, and he never really gave it. He didn't look like he was going to win, Dan, but he never gave it up. He's just a good horse. I didn't love the Bing Crosby 2 back, but he ran well in that race. As it seems like he always does. Sisterson has really tested this horse. He's thrown him into a lot of tough spots, and this horse has acquitted himself well. And he showed 2 starts back that he can close into a fast pace, Dan. He might get the perfect setup here.
If you believe in Buyer's speed figures, the 10 Edgemont Roads last race, a race we're going to show you right now from Ellis Park, it puts him right there. It's a 98 buyer effort and an entry-level optional claimer. This horse took no prisoners. He went to the front, but it's not like he took any pressure, and it's not like he was going very fast on the lead. Boy, he won easily, and the last time he ran at Keeneland, he won easily as well. A horse taking a big step up with lots of speed to his inside.
Yeah, the Keeneland win 3-back, which was a good effort as well. It was against 2 life claimers. And then he got that race right there that we saw where he just sort of got loose and took control. It was another fast race. I don't want to sit here and dismiss him too easily, but it just feels like he's stepping into so much of a tougher spot for him. I couldn't take him, but it'll be a big price.
7-year-old Mo Don't Know is just such a cool horse. The Ohio-bred millionaire has won 20 of 44. He's been in the exacta 30 times. It doesn't really matter whether it's 6 furlongs or a mile and a quarter. He handles it. The question is whether he's good enough to face graded stakes sprinters at Keeneland. They ran him in the Charlestown Classic last time out. He chased his slow pace, and he just didn't have it in the stretch. Very game to win 2 starts back.
Yeah, he was. Listen, he's a really cool horse. We've been sitting here going through this field, Dan, and there are some good horses in here, but they aren't killers. If you have an idea with a big price horse in this race, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. This horse tends to show up and run every time.
Midnight Sands completes this field. He made his North American debut for trainer Brendan Walsh. He showed good tactical speed and an optional claimer at Churchill Downs, and perhaps he felt the effects of the layoff in that race, finishing second to a pretty good horse in Bourbon Resolution. I'd expect him to run better second off the layoff, but a tough outside post. He did some very good things in Dubai.
He did. I was interested in this horse on paper. When I just first pulled the PPs and started looking at it, I thought maybe I could make a case for him. I didn't love his race at Churchill last time. He ran fine in there, but he didn't do enough there to make me want to take him in this spot.
Well, let's see who you did take in the Grade 2 Phoenix Stakes. We both took the same horse. Diamond Oops, to me, is just in very good form right now. I love his versatility. I think this race is going to set up very, very well for him. He's going to come with a run. You want Sha Shake Me Up to shake up those exotics.
Yeah, I threw him in underneath. I just feel like he's the kind of horse who will be a big price and can come running in here. I have Whitmore third. I could have had him on top, Dan. I think he is the horse to beat in this race. You left him out completely. I guess it's such a wide open race. I'm not going to argue with it. I just feel like he is the logical horse in this race that you're probably supposed to take.
He's the logical horse. I have a feeling the local fans are going to pound Whitmore. He's the name horse in this race. I wonder if he goes off at something around 2-1 or 9-5. And let's be honest. Yes, he probably had an excuse for the wet track last time. He didn't run at all that day. And I'm beginning to get worried about that. 4-10, 2-9, but he's very dangerous. 4-1, 3-9 for Mike. Grade 2 Phoenix, race number 8. Nice card opening day at Keeneland. The Phoenix has an approximate post time of 5:05 Eastern. Good luck.